Our next Christmas issue, Superman number 165 from 2001. This is back in the Jeff Loeb scripting days. This is Triangle number 6 for the year 2001, because they printed them sort of ahead of time. This is a classic case of, there's a February cover date, it's a Christmas issue, because the cover date's always a couple months ahead of when a comic was published. As typical for Jeff Loeb, he does this once in a while. This is an all-star effort. This is a Christmas issue where every scene gets a different big-name artist. And you can see, just from the credit listing here on the cover, you've got Ed McGuinness starting it off, and I think ending it too. Art Adams draws a sequence. Joe Madureira, Humberto Ramos, Mike Wieringo, and Cam Smith, who I think he just inks somebody, doesn't he? But we'll get to that as we go. This issue I hesitated on reviewing because it takes place during a specific storyline that these days would upset some people. In fact, when I think back to all the troubles Marvel got into when Captain America was seen as a Hydra agent, not that he was, and obviously other stuff was going on there, but people overreacted to it in the most amazing way possible. This is during the time when Lex Luthor became president. Now, thankfully, there's absolutely no comparison to be made between, say, a businessman like Lex Luthor becoming president to anything happening in today's day and age of politics, and we're not going to get upset about that kind of stuff. But if we were to make such a comparison going on here, this is the issue where Superman gets moody and makes very mad TikToks about his situation. It's basically an issue of Superman going to all his friends, giving them each a very thoughtful Christmas present, and complaining about the state of the world because he doesn't know what is right and wrong anymore. How could Lex Luthor become elected president? So let's just skip over that part. That happens. Let's just look at the art and let's look at the gifts and just go with that and stay away from politics because I don't want to go there. I probably have already gone there too much. Ed McGuinness drawing to start. This is a fun era for Superman. I mean, the art was great. The writing was a lot of fun. Humberto Ramos gets the first story with Superman and the Martian Manhunter plus Plastic Man all together. In case you're wondering what gifts he gives them, why, no doubt, he gets elastic bands for Plastic Man. And, of course, Choco's cookies for Martian Manhunter, because by 2001, the lawyers at Warner Brothers, someone had told the creative teams, you can't use Oreos inside the comics. That'll get someone in trouble at some point, so they had Chocos. And because it's a Jeff Loeb comic from 2001, his buddy Rob Liefeld draws the Aquaman section here, and Rob goes crazy with the water balloons or water bubbles. What would the proper term for that be? The bubbles in the water from all the motion going around. They become panel borders. They become character outlines. They're all over the place. It's kind of fun, actually. Norm Rapmund doing the inking here. They have a little back and forth about, should we take down the president? We're not going to go there. And he gets him, of course, a snow globe of Metropolis. That's actually pretty thoughtful. Pretty ironic, don't you think? Mike Wieringo draws the Green Lantern storyline with Cam Smith doing the inks here. What gift does he give him? He gives him some polish for his ring. Of course. The Mummy, that was a big thing back in those days. That first Mummy movie was a lot of fun. Art Adams draws Superman and the Flash, which of course is pretty cool. I guess he's inking himself as well. They talk about stuff. Like I said before, we're not going to talk about that stuff. It's nice art, and he gets him his gifts of tube socks. Tube socks from Superman, Flash gets, because, he's a runner, and runners wear those kinds of things. Ian Churchill. Ian Churchill's name was not on the cover. Whoops. But Ian Churchill with Norm Rapmund again, drawing Wonder Woman in this case. It really is like a who's who of people Jeff Loeb was working with at the time. Ian Churchill was doing some work for the awesome comics that Jeff Loeb was involved with Rob Liefeld. He gets her, of course, a little Mjolnir because she's pure of heart and super strong, I guess. And Joe Mad draws Batman Superman, as only Jeff Loeb can write Batman Superman. Actually, I thought their series together was awesome back at the time, the Batman Superman series. They're not talking much. They're grunting. Batman puts Superman in his place kind of thing. And then he gives him a gift. Oh, yes, a little... it took me a while. I had to actually stare at this one for a little bit to figure it out with the coloring and the inking and whatnot. It's a detective's magnifying glass. The kind of thing you'd want a detective to have. So there's that. And when the time is right, we'll take Luthor down, he says. I forget now what happened at the end of the President Luthor storyline. Luthor probably did something stupid that got himself taken down. And Ed McGuinness comes back at the end here just to wrap up the story and to show that Lois and Clark can indeed have a good time and have a break and go on vacation, hit the beaches, of course, of the bottle city of Kandor for Christmas. And Superman feels much better having talked to all his friends who basically didn't fix anything for him. But I guess it made him feel better, so good for them. That's all I can say is good for them. Superman number 165, an all-star effort. What do you get the JLA for Christmas? Well, now you know.